on wheels, built to perform better and look cooler. Take racing to new heights. Jump, stunt, crash. Now the fun begins.
Hot Wheels. These little speed demons that every child and adult remembers are regarded as one of the most influential toys. And it's no wonder that seeing the famous orange track with occasional blue loop-de-loops is going to catch your eye, but how about seeing it on your PC or Xbox? Now, before I continue in this direction, let's talk from the other end to get to this video's point. Forza Horizon, a game that took the spotlight with its first release in 2012, tons of well-detailed cars and one big beautiful map of Colorado, then Italy with its proud horses and power-driven bulls, and then, in 2016, and third installment, takes us to Australia. Later that year, we get a snowy Blizzard Mountain expansion. It is received positively, but nothing too amazing, because what does expansion need to be successful? People are already familiar with your game, so you have to make them come back. That requires having the base gameplay tuned well. That's a start, Forza has that, but where Blizzard Mountain fails is the wow effect. Something to bring people back. I do in the end enjoy Rally, and I did enjoy Blizzard Mountain, but I was not hyped for it. It lacked something I have not yet seen, something my imagination could not even muster up. So the greatest expansion has to take the familiar, blend it with the fresh. Also, it needs to surprise you, it needs to create a unique experience, but how well can you pull this off? Playground games, in the end, were mostly improving existing formats. They could not possibly even reach the highest standard, and they have not. Because actually, they have set the highest standard. Hot Wheels in a video game with crossplay multiplayer loop boosters, classics like Twin Mill and the dinosaur biting your car. Entire Forza grid with over 400 cars has been laid out to this playground, traversing between the logistic and nostalgic. Simply, this is the story of the greatest expansion in racing games history, so impactful that more standalone Hot Wheels games were to come after its release, and sadly so impactful that as Horizon would slowly start to rot, the developers would try to save it with a Hot Wheels expansion. Now, how to describe the expansion? You could say pretty much that immediately after booting it up and arriving to the meeting point, you see Hot Wheels cars and a piece of track being transported by two Chinooks. Now that makes you curious. Then you arrive, and then English stops being worthy language of describing this. So let me put it like this. You feel like a child that has just discovered that phone has a snake game on it. Simply, it's like Hot Wheels, but you can control the car, and the track is longer than your living room, even if you would build the track out of the window. And the hundreds of cars, you feel like this is an ultimate Hot Wheels experience. Why? Because it sort of truly is. After introduction, it is explained to you how the progress goes. It's rather simple. For every activity, you can gain up to 3 points based on how well you perform, and these points count up to a set number that then opens up a new category with faster and faster cars. After you reach a set of 100, the Goliath race appears, and while you can continue collecting points and unlocking more races, this is considered to be the ending of the expansion. Throughout this journey, you will be able to collect a bunch of Hot Wheels cars, like for example Twin Mill, Rip Rod, Bone Shaker and more, with likes of Pagani, Zonda R. This expansion is all about gameplay and driving on the orange highway of mayhem, but there are some slight issues, so let's address them. The biggest one is the AI, which clearly struggles on some parts of the circuit. Sometimes it even flies off into the distance as it goes off track 500 meters above the ground, and other times it brakes too much into certain corners, giving you easy overtaking opportunities. The first one might be intentional since only few opponents leave the race this way, thus finding out the ideal difficulty will take some time. But there are moments when it all clicks, and you're all side to side on a track that is increasing its slope, and the rain pours down on you. Outside of racing, you get bucket lists with various jumping and skill point challenges. Then you get speed zones and all regular stuff Forza offers, except blended with Hot Wheels. But the reason why this is an expansion worth your time is the way how it transforms the original game, retaining what's best and adding to get the people back into it. The length of the expansion is nowhere near the original game, but it is to be expected since the cost of this expansion is 20 euros, but you can no longer buy the expansion. Except you can. It might not be available on the Microsoft Store, but you can purchase it, like the original game, through Grey Market. If you're not familiar, Grey Market is the sort of way to buy games that are bought in regions where games are cheapest and then resold to you. By buying the games through Grey Market, you're not breaking the law, but it is shady area, and thus it is called Grey Market. Sadly, while you can obtain Forza Horizon 3 on the Grey Market for a still reasonable price, the expansion packs are rarely available and oftentimes very expensive. Although, like I said, you can find similar expansion for the Forza Horizon 5, which is currently on sale until the end of August 2023. But you might be able to get your hands on Forza Horizon 3's expansions through buying the Ultimate Edition of Forza Horizon 3 on the Grey Market, which is still at least within some reasonable price point. This expansion simply set the new standard, as the expansions that would come after the Hot Wheels will try to reach the same bar, like for example Forza Horizon 4's LEGO expansion. When the Hot Wheels expansion released, the Forza Horizon as a series was at the top of its career, and sadly, as the time would go, the games have fallen into the mediocre tracks of releasing basically the same game once 4 years or so. But is it worth it? For this insane price tag, probably not. But if you have it, revisiting it might make your day, since Hot Wheels expansion does everything from ludological perspective right. So technically speaking, this expansion is a reminder that while there might not be a perfect expansion, and there might never even be, at least once Forza has gotten damn close to achieving it. And it is that much more sad that obtaining it is so difficult.